Today, we are diving deep into Satipaṭṭhāna, an ancient Pali text that gives us a really powerful framework for mindfulness. And look, this isn't just about feeling calm or relaxed. It's a direct, almost systematic way to get to know your own mind.
We're going straight to the source material here. The text kicks off with a simple, direct statement. It basically sets the stage for a really structured investigation of our own experience. So the big question is, what exactly are these four foundations?
Well, the whole practice is built on observing reality through four very distinct lenses, or foundations. You can think of them as four big categories that pretty much cover every single aspect of our moment-to-moment experience. So here they are, the four foundations. First up, you have kaya, which is the body. Then there's vedana, which are the feelings or sensations that constantly pop up. Third, you've got chitta, the actual state of our mind or consciousness itself. And finally, dhamma, which is kind of a catch-all for all other mental phenomena. Taken together, these four things create a complete map of our inner world. But why bother with all this? The text is super clear about the purpose. It's vinaya loke abhijadamanasam, which means to train away or get rid of the greed and distress that cause so much of our suffering. So you see, this isn't just some mental gymnastics. It's meant to be a practical tool for finding some inner freedom. So, how does this whole practice actually work? What do you do? Well, the text lays out a very specific 7-step method for contemplation. And what's really fascinating is that this exact same method gets applied to each one of those four foundations. Once you get this pattern, you've pretty much understood the entire practice. Here's how it unfolds. You start by observing things as impermanent, then you see them as unsatisfying, and finally as not self. And this direct seeing, this insight, it leads to a sense of disenchantment, and then dispassion. From there, the whole process moves towards cessation, and then ultimately a complete letting go. It's like a chain reaction of insight, one step leading right to the next. All right, let's make this concrete. We'll start with the very first foundation, the body, or kaya. Let's see how that 7-step process applies directly to our own physical experience. This right here, this illustrates the huge shift in perception we're talking about. Our default mode, right, is to see our body as this solid, stable, permanent thing, a perception of permanence or anicca. But the practice trains us to do the exact opposite, to actively contemplate it as impermanent, anicca anupassati. So what do we even mean by body here? It means everything, from the fundamental elements that make it up, earth, water, fire, and wind, all the way to its individual parts, like your hair, skin, bones, and blood. The practice is to look at any of these things and just apply that 7-fold contemplation, really seeing their transient, ever-changing nature. Okay, now let's see how this pattern builds out, because the real power of this method is that you can use it for everything. It's universally applicable. That same 7-step analysis is used for absolutely everything else we experience. Next up is vedana, or feelings. Now, it doesn't matter if a feeling is pleasant, unpleasant, or just kind of neutral. The instruction is exactly the same. Instead of getting swept away by it, you observe it through that 7-step lens, seeing it as impermanent, as unsatisfactory, and as not self, all the way to just letting it go. Then we turn that same awareness to the mind itself, to chitta. Is the mind feeling greedy? Is it feeling angry? Maybe it's super concentrated and clear, or maybe it's all cloudy and confused. You know what? It doesn't actually matter. You just observe the mind state as another passing phenomenon, applying that same impartial 7-step analysis. And finally, we get to dharma. This is the catch-all category for everything else that can pop up in the mind. Thoughts, ideas, concepts, memories. Any mental object that isn't the body, a feeling, or a specific mind state falls right in here. And yep, you guessed it, it gets examined with the exact same powerful method. Okay, so after all this detailed observation of the body, feelings, mind, and all these other phenomena, what's the end game? What is the actual result? What does this practice really lead to? Well, the outcome is pretty profound. The text says that through this whole process, one adhanam pajahati, one abandons grasping. See, by repeatedly seeing the impermanent and unsatisfactory nature of literally all of our experience, the mind's deep habit of clinging and craving just falls away on its own. It's not something you force. It's the natural result of just seeing clearly. This entire system, which is thousands of years old, ultimately just points us back to this very moment. It leaves us with a really practical question to take into our own lives.
What is coming up in your experience right now? A sensation in your body, a passing feeling, a thought? That you can simply observe, just as it is, without having to grab onto it or push it away.